Hello everyone, I'm Chef Sam Nielsen, and today I'll be showing you how to do your plated dessert for the High School Culinary Challenge. So first off, we're going to start with making your pâte sucre dough. So for that, you're just going to take your butter and put it into your machine. Add in your icing sugar, followed by your salt and your lemon zest. And then once everything is in your mixer, you're just going to turn it on to about medium-low speed until all of your ingredients are incorporated and smooth. While it's mixing, make sure to always scrape down the sides of your bowl with a spatula, and then just continue. Okay. I need a spatula. And then once all of your ingredients are smooth and incorporated, you're going to slowly add in your eggs. Very little at a time, just to make sure it doesn't separate. So I'm just going to take my spatula and scrape down the sides so I know that all of my butter and sugar mixture is incorporated with my eggs. You don't want to have any lumps of butter or egg in your dough. You want it to be smooth and consistent. So for your egg, you should probably do about 5 to 6 additions just to make sure it's all smooth. Turn up your mixture as needed. So now that our egg, butter, and sugar is all mixed together, we're going to add in our flour. Start on slow so flour doesn't spray everywhere. And slowly turn up the speed. As you can see, our dough is coming together. And for this dough, you are not wanting to overmix it, or else it can become dry. So I'm just going to turn it on just for another second. And then you're going to take your spatula, scrape down the sides to make sure everything is incorporated. Make sure you get all the dough off of your paddle or hook attachment, whichever one you choose to use. And then we're going to take the dough, wrap it in plastic wrap, and put it in the fridge to chill, probably for about 45 minutes to an hour until it's firm to touch. So your dough should be soft and all combined and smooth. You will see a few chunks, but that is probably just your lemon zest, which is fine. And yeah, so now we're just going to wrap it in our plastic wrap. Just make sure all the dough is out of your bowl. Wrap it, and then just kind of flatten it out with your hands. And now just set it in the fridge for about 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so now while our dough is just chilling in the fridge, we're gonna make our rhubarb filling. So for that, all you need is 3 simple ingredients: your rhubarb, some lemon juice, and salt. So we're gonna take our rhubarb here, and if it is a bit watery, you can just drain some of that off into a separate bowl. So toss your rhubarb into your bowl. Just make sure all of the chunks are even, just so you have a consistent baking through them. Now you're going to add your sugar. And your lemon juice. You're just going to take your spatula, break it up, mix it all together. Make sure it's all consistent throughout. And just set that aside for now. Next, we're going to make our streusel topping. So for this, we have flour, brown sugar, butter, and cinnamon. So to start, we're going to put in our butter into our bowl. Next, add in our flour. Brown sugar. And cinnamon to taste. So for this, just do a few pinches. Nothing too overpowering, but enough so you can still taste it. And now, just with your hands, you're just going to mix it up until it is a sandy texture and everything is uniform in size and texture. So this is a good consistency to have for your streusel topping. It's sandy and it has a few chunks of butter in it. And now we're going to set that aside and move on to our crème anglaise. Okay, so for that, we are going to add our half and half cream to a pot. And for that, we're just going to pour it in. You're going to turn it on to about medium-low heat. So medium-low heat just to scald your cream. And in the meantime, you're going to add in your eggs into a bowl. Just your egg whites, or egg yolks, sorry. And your sugar. Now we're just going to whisk it together until it is thick and fluffy. So you're just going to keep whisking it until it turns into the ribbon stage. And if you don't know what that is, it is when you can put it onto itself and it holds it straight for around 10 seconds. As you keep whisking, it will turn more pale in color, which is what you want. Now, after that's done, we're just going to turn on our water onto high heat so it comes to a boil. Okay, so our egg yolks and sugar are at a good stage. As you can see, if you just lift it up and put it onto itself, it holds its shape, but it doesn't hold its shape permanently. It will fall back into itself. So we're going to set that aside and wait for our cream to come to a boil. And always make sure you are working in a clean workstation so you can avoid cross-contamination and such. If your cream is taking a little longer than you want to scald, you can just turn up the heat a little bit. So a trick that I learned is we can take a cloth, wet it, put your bowl on top of it, so when you're whisking, you don't need to hold onto your bowl and it won't slide around on you. So our cream now is just coming to a light boil. You don't want it to boil so it burns the bottom. So perfect. You're going to turn it off. We're going to slowly pour it into our egg yolk mixture. You don't want to pour it in too fast or else you can cook your egg yolks. So mix it. Scrape the sides, just make sure everything is incorporated into it. And now that that is done, we can put it on top of our boiling water. So now we're just going to place it over top of our boiling water and cook it until it coats the back of a spoon. Constantly stir your mixture so it doesn't burn along the sides or the bottom. It will start to thicken up slightly, but not a lot. You can just take it off the heat if you want to check it. Make sure it's the right consistency. Just put it on for a little bit more. Make sure to always stir it. Okay, so this is now done. This is at a good consistency for a creme anglaise. You're going to turn off your boiling water. So to check it, what you can do, take a spoon, go like that, just kind of stir it around, pick it up, and see if it coats the back of the spoon, go like that. And if it holds it, and it doesn't come back together, it's perfect. So now at this step, we're just going to pour it into a separate bowl and place it in the fridge. So now, just before I place it into another bowl, we're going to add in some vanilla bean paste. Whisk it together. Now set it aside in a different bowl and put it in the fridge to chill. Okay. So now that our dough is chilled, we're going to unwrap it from the plastic. Flour your work surface. Take your dough, flour the top of your dough also, just to ensure it doesn't stick to your rolling pin. We're going to grab our rolling pin and just roll it out until it's a 1/4 inch thick. And if you want, you can always add a bit more flour onto your surface. Kind of wiggle it just to make sure it's not stuck onto the bottom. So now you're going to take your ring molds, place it on top of your dough. You're going to cut about 1 inch extra around your mold just to ensure it can come up the sides. And then do that for the other 2. So now you're going to take your dough, take your ring mold, and slowly shape it into your ring mold. Put the excess over the sides, take your paring knife, just trim it so you have a nice clean edge and it looks presentable. And do that for your other 2. You don't need to flour or butter your ring molds because it'll just slide out of the ring mold. So now that all 3 rings are done, I'm going to cut the last one. I'm just going to transfer these onto a baking sheet and then fill them. So now that I have them all on the pan, we're now going to take our rhubarb filling. This is your spatula. You can add it in. Try not to get a lot of juice in there, because that will just make the bottoms of your tart soggy and not good. You want to have a nice kind of crunch on the bottom of your crust. And if you want, you can make a little bit of a heap of your rhubarb in your tart, because it will shrink a little bit when it bakes. So just like that. And now take your Streusel topping and just sprinkle it a generous amount over top of the rhubarb. Not too much, but not so little that you can't taste it. So a good amount. And now we're just going to place them in our oven at 350 for 45 minutes. Okay. So now I'm just going to clean up my workstation while they're baking. So now that our tarts have finished baking and they have cooled a little bit, we can start plating them up. So to start, we're just going to grab our crème anglaise. Just give it a little stir, make sure it's all incorporated. There's no skin that has formed on the top of the sauce. And now I'm just going to grab a spoon, stir it up a little bit. You can plate it up however you would like. So today, for mine, I'm just going to do a little bit of a, I don't know what you want to call it, a swoop, I guess. So let's do that on both plates. Just take the back of your spoon and kind of just swipe it across your plate, like that. Clean off your spoon, just make sure it's nice and clean and uniform, and do the same to your other. Now, we're going to take our tart, place it on the plate however you would like, just so it looks presentable and nice. Do that to both of them. Try to place them on the plate as uniform as possible on both plates. And now for your garnish. You can either do a sugar garnish, a chocolate garnish, whatever you would like, whatever you think would go best with your dessert. So today I'm going to be doing a sugar garnish. I have some white chocolate leaves. I like these because they can add some height to your dessert, as well as a nice finished look. And then add some chocolate sticks, and that is mine. And here is your finished plate of dessert for the high school competition.